Hello, everyone. I am LaurieAnn. I am the host of Bleep Bulimia, otherwise known as also Bleep Midlife Bulimia, because as you all know who have been listening out there, is that it's a very important subject to know that bulimia doesn't just affect teenagers or college students. Some of us have started early in life and went on until later years in life before we recover. And some of us are still struggling in our 40s, our 50s, our 60s. I'm very grateful for the fact that I managed to recover 11 years ago, would never want to go back. And I just wanted to share with you today a beautiful story. I have moved back in with my parents. They have a basement apartment and I moved back in after being actually literally kicked out of my apartment. And I always think that there's a reason for something that happens. And at first I was really stressed out, and luckily being bulimic recovered, the ways that I dealt with that stress were very different. So it would be more like deep breaths and talking to friends and reaching out to my support. Whereas in another world, when I was bulimic, it would have probably been turning to food, but it was not. So moving forward with that, I have never been happier. I was so excited today. And even last night. So last night I went and I had gone out and I bought some rainbow trout, and it was quite a big, large piece. So I made that for my parents for dinner and we all sat together. And it's like being a kid again. And then today, Dad said, I bought some hamburger meat too. And he goes, I want a cheeseburger. And so I made them a cheeseburger. My father has aphasia. I want to bring awareness to that. A lot of people don't know what it is. My father had 3 strokes at the age of 83, and he lost his speech. The first time it wasn't that bad. Second time he could still sing. He was an opera singer. By the third time, he lost his singing voice as well. He is so determined, and that is powerful. My mother is a rock. She is, so my dad is 88 and my mother is now 86. She is there for him every day. She helps him out. She also is feeling really good that I'm living here now so that she can go out shopping if she wants to, and she knows there's somebody there for my dad. Big thing is with aphasia and not being able to speak, and he lost some of his sight and his balance. If anything happened to my mother, who is in really good health, but however, something happened to her, my father couldn't call 911. These are things that we should, always look into, is where we can help people. So here you are. You might be listening to this because you're bulimic. How do you help yourself? I think that was the biggest thing for me, is what I realized is having helped myself, being 11 years recovered. Today, I am just so happy to help other people, helping my parents, being here. Again, I've never been so happy. This is probably the best circle of life I've ever experienced. And having dinner with them, making them dinner, sitting with them, and knowing that I am not going to be looking to purge it. I have reached a position here where if there are triggers, I'm very aware of them. And the last time that happened would have been like 8 years ago. And I think that the reason the last time it happened was because I did become aware of my triggers. One of them is, overdoing things. I was a little bit in a depression when I was being kicked out of my apartment. My landlady was moving in, so I had no choice to go out. And I would sleep in until 10, 11, didn't want to get out of bed. Here, I can't sleep in past 7-Eleven, and it's so weird. I don't know. It's like that little corner store that used to be called 7-Eleven. 7-Eleven, I wake up and literally just loving it, loving going shopping for food, loving being able to share that, loving being able to feel like, I walk my dogs and then I walk their dog, little Shih Tzu. She's so cute, Sonia. They all get along really well together. I guess what is this message? You're going to be sitting there going, well, I'm listening to this podcast. Do you have a message, LaurieAnn? Can you please tell us what it is? I can. I got a beautiful call from my sister yesterday, and she said, keep up your podcasts. I know they're important to people. And I said, yes. And there's that satisfaction of knowing that I wouldn't say satisfaction. It's just, I'm hoping that I'm providing the listeners with a gift to be able to choose. And in this episode number 49, I want to thank all of my guests that have been there, from the ones that have shared their stories of being bulimic to the ones that have shared their stories of how they've overcome obesity, which in a sense is the binging side of our other side of the bulimia, which is the purging. They just didn't purge. To the people who have been here and said, here's a solution. And as I said to all of my listeners, there's not just one right way for one person. I would love it. I mean, if I was the only one that was the bulimia recovery coach and everyone would come to me, I'd be helping everyone. I'd be so excited. I could, do all the things that I really want to do with all of you together, but it's not like that. Also, it's not easy for people to come out, and particularly when you're in midlife. It's a shameful feeling, but it's necessary. It's necessary to come out. It's necessary to say, I need help. You don't have to tell the world, but to tell one person, somebody that you are comfortable with. And this is where I'm hoping that I'm providing you those options. Listen, view that we're on YouTube. If you go to Bleep Bulimia, look it up. If you want to see the person, see their expressions, just instead of just their voice from the podcast, please go there. And it's important because you have to relate to the person. And with that too, I am really looking forward to episode number 50. Every one of my guests on this Bleep Midlife Bulimia podcast has made a difference in my life too, listening to their stories. And I hope they have you too. Just remember, you can definitely overcome it 100%. And you just have to believe in yourself. There are a lot of resources here on this podcast. You can also find us on Facebook. If you look up Bleep Bulimia, I'm on there. I'm on Instagram, and I'm also on TikTok that I send things out to. And that is though under I am that gal _.com. That is the main, my main hub. So if you even wanted to see all the other podcasts that we've done with Lift Your Story, and there's a lot of interesting people there that speak to mental health and anyone who's been abused and such, please go there too. And that is, you can just find us by going to Facebook and look up Lift Your Story, LIFT Your Story, Bleep Bulimia. It's also a group, so if you want to share anything, and for anybody who wants to share things privately, please go and visit. It's called Bulimiatic, BULLIMIADDICT, so Bulimiatic. But if you just even look up Bulimia Recovery in Facebook, you'll find that group. That one is a private group if you do need to speak to it. And again, we're trying to reach out primarily to the midlife people, because I think there is a sister and brotherhoodship on the people who have struggled for so long or have started in their midlife. We're kind of like the people who were lost. And I know that, when I was in my 40s, I just wished that I had somewhere to go, and everywhere I went, they were all in their 20s or their teens or their early 30s. And I'm sitting there going, wow, I'm 45 and I'm still struggling. So that's why I reached out to you guys. Thank you so much for listening. And I really hope that you listened to my previous podcast, and I look forward to number 50 with Dr. Fujan Zain. She's got a really great message. And again, we're going to continue with this. We're going to continue with more and more people. And if any of you out there listening would like to be on my podcast, please get a hold of me. It's pretty simple. bleepbulimia@gmail.com. I am LaurieAnn. All you have to do is say, I have a story and I want to share it. And I would love to have you on my podcast. Let's bring awareness to the midlife bulimia along with bulimia itself, because a lot of people, believe it or not, don't know what it is, but also to the midlife bulimia. Let's pull together. Let's try and make this go away. I know it's hard to say that 100%, but at least let's reduce it by a significant percentage. Thanks for listening. Take care. I'm LaurieAnn. Have a great night.